Now that we have established that the preservation of each individual's life is the most significant moral value, we can make the case that each individual has a right to take actions to preserve his own life. After all, it would make no sense for any state to be morally valuable without the individual having a legitimate ability to pursue and preserve that state. A right to life is precisely the legitimate prerogative to pursue one's life without interference from others. Likewise, any actions and physical prerequisites which are necessary or useful for preserving the life of any individual should be within the sphere of that individual's legitimate pursuits. From this originate the rights to liberty and property, freedom of action, and freedom of owning and using legitimately obtained physical objects. While the preservation of the life of the individual is the most significant moral value, it need not be the only moral value. For instance, certain values such as civility, tact, and aesthetic beauty are not indispensable to life, but they do make life more enjoyable and comfortable. As a result, it is also moral to pursue them, but not at the expense of the higher value of life. Values like civility and integrity are universally preferable, in that everyone's life would be more reliable and comfortable if everyone practiced them. These values can also generate behavior that indirectly prevents certain kinds of persecution and intolerance, and thereby makes the life of every individual more secure. Other values, such as one's choice of occupations or one's aesthetic preferences, are not necessarily universalizable, although they may objectively be the best values for an individual to pursue given his particular circumstances. The pursuit of any of these values, provided that it does not trump life, is within the sphere of every individual's right to pursue happiness. Again, any moral value ought to be accompanied by a legitimate prerogative to actualize it, and this prerogative arises from within the individual who holds the value rather than from an external source. Political liberty, then, is the necessary societal precondition for the actualization of the preservation of the most important underpinning of all morality, the life of every individual who is engaged in moral pursuits. This argument is entirely atheistic, and can more readily be recognized by an atheist who does not adhere to fiat theories of existence or morality. By contrast, an atheist can recognize claims to arbitrary power by both the supposed pronouncements of deities and the pronouncements of men who claim a special right to dispose of the lives and destinies of others. The second argument for the compatibility of atheism and liberty is the argument from the soul status of this world. Because atheists do not believe in an afterlife or a world beyond the present one, they by definition hold this world and this existence to be the only one there is. If this existence is the only one there is, then anything important must be achieved in this existence, or it cannot be achieved at all. If liberty is important, then one cannot wait until some fictitious next life to have it. One must have it in this life. A theistic proponent of liberty might at least console himself that if he fails in obtaining freedom here, he will have it in the hereafter. The atheist has no such consolation. Either he will have liberty here, or liberty will be lost to him. This focuses all of the atheist's attention and his efforts on attaining liberty in this world. This argument, of course, can be extended to every other human value, such as prosperity, beauty, longevity, productivity, integrity, family, friendships, and romantic relationships. If there is only this world, then this world is the place to pursue the optimal quantities of these values, some of which may be indefinite, as for instance with longevity. For instance, now that the technologies that may enable humans to live indefinitely are within reach of some presently living generations, it may be that religion will do many of today's humans a great disservice by diverting their energies away from the push to arrive at and support these technologies, and toward the pursuit of an afterlife that is highly improbable, to say the least. It is also likely that an excessive focus on the hereafter could diminish the amount of time and efficiency of the efforts devoted to the preservation of liberty here. The third argument for the compatibility of atheism and liberty is the freedom from institutional entanglements. Religions are not mere abstract belief systems about the supernatural. Virtually every religion entails considerable institutional entanglements with human organizations, such as churches, temples, or mosques, social networks, and even at times, political movements. Many religions prescribe everything from an individual's diet to his or her romantic relationships to his or her views on political and social issues. The requirements imposed by religious organizations as preconditions for membership are often much more onerous in restricting the individual's ability to rationally choose his own best course in life than any of the requirements imposed by Western welfare states today. Freedom from religious belief also gives the atheist the freedom from obeying the prescriptions of self-proclaimed religious authorities. He can be autonomous in his personal life, just as he is autonomous in his political and economic life under true liberty. While he can certainly find wisdom and prudence in some recommendations of some religious individuals and individuals with claims to religious authority, he is not bound to accept these claims because of their source, but rather because of their merits. Moreover, he does not have to accept every authority's pronouncements as a package. Rather, he can use his independent judgment to pick the best elements in the ideas of as many people as he wishes and synthesize them into an unprecedentedly good and effective framework for living life. An atheist is free in his mind to accept or reject every idea individually, just as a politically free individual is able to accept or reject every non-coercive choice individually, without thereby being bound to accept a whole host of other ideas or choices which are not inextricable consequences of the idea or choice in question.